90.9 FM.
KSJE is supported by Sandstone Productions, bringing live theater back this summer. Saturday, August 7th at 8 p.m., Artrageous, the troupe of artists, dancers, and musicians, featuring the Artrageous Splatter Station, making one-of-a-kind wearable art. Find out more online at fmtn.org/shows. Artrageous, Saturday, August 7th. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, here to meet your urgent and emergent medical needs, whether they are COVID-19 related or not. Medical emergencies happen when you least expect them, whether it's a stroke, heart attack, illness, or injury. San Juan Regional Medical Center's caregivers are here to provide care to you and your loved ones. Find out more online at sanjuanregional.com. Ten minutes past 8 o'clock. It is Monday morning, August the 2nd, 2021. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE, 90.9 FM over the air, of course, here in San Juan County, New Mexico, 103.3 FM over the air in Durango, Colorado, and streaming everywhere on Earth from our website, ksje.com. Welcome also to our viewers who are watching this visual radio program. It is streaming live this morning to the KSJE Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitter account. We're glad that you're with us, everybody, because coming up in the next few moments, we're going to be talking about the Basin Home Health Good Neighbor Foundation and their event that's coming up this Saturday. We'll have more information about that coming up in the next few moments, so stay tuned to KSJE. Then later on this hour, it's our Monday Reboot segment. I'll talk technology with Lewis Campbell at 8:50 a.m., and of course, don't forget, of course, to check out our Instagram page in addition to our social media channels of Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Outside our studios this morning, it is a partly cloudy morning in Farmington, 64 degrees outside our studios at San Juan College. We are expecting a day of increasing sun with a high of 85 degrees. Still a chance of an afternoon shower or thunderstorm popping up. 62 for a low tonight, 89 for a high tomorrow, 90 on Wednesday. And again, still a chance of one of those monsoon showers popping up. Maybe a bit drier on Thursday with a high of 92. And 93, as you can see, on Friday for high and overnight lows in the upper 60s. Well, let me turn to my guests who are here with me this morning. Again, representing Basin Home Health and the Basin Good Neighbor Foundation. Megan Cullip is here from Basin Home Health. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good to have you back.
I know.
In a different hat.
Now I'm being interviewed.
Now you are being interviewed. I've got some tough questions for you, lady.
Good.
Okay. Very good. Nicole Clark is also here from Basin Health Companies. Good morning, Nicole. Good to have you here as well.
Good morning, Scott. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Great to see you and have you here as well to talk about this event and the Good Neighbor Foundation, which is why we're all together this morning and the event that you've got coming up. But Megan, let me start with you because you are the chaplain and the executive director of the Good Neighbor Foundation. And so talk to us a little bit about the hospice program that Basin offers and how the Good Neighbor Foundation works into that.
Sure. So, first I think we have to do sort of this giant foot view. Is it 30,000 foot view?
Okay, let's start at 30,000 feet.
Okay, so about what hospice is. And so, because I'm not quite sure everybody's familiar with hospice.
Sure, that's true.
But hospice is end-of-life care, and the goal is, I always say, it's to help somebody feel better with the acknowledgement that they won't get better. So what that looks like is, it's sort of a fork in the road, and to the left you have continued hospitalizations, continued treatments, labs, blood tests, scans, all of that stuff that we're used to experiencing throughout our lives. And then on the right, we have hospice care, and really that's, and nobody's ever fully ready to accept, so you really just have to accept it enough that this is where we're at. Whatever the underlying issue is, we can no longer treat, we cannot fix the problem, so what we're going to do is try to enjoy the days that we have left.
Right.
Hospice does not mean necessarily that somebody's somebody's death is imminent or right around the corner, people can be on hospice for quite some time, and some folks decline slowly, some folks decline quickly, and it just kind of depends on what's going on. But so that's what it is. So it's actually helping people find pleasure at the end of life. When we talk about treatment in hospice world, we're talking about treating pain and discomfort. And so what we do is journey along with that person, and we protect autonomy because that's something that's often stripped away in serious illness. And so we give that back to the patient, and we also are helping caregivers, which could be family or friends or any loved ones, and it's more holistic. So we have that medical side, of course, that's helping with that easing of symptoms, but we also have myself and our social workers that are helping the emotional, spiritual side of things, and the grief support, which can start as soon as somebody's diagnosed all the way. We offer it all the way 13 years after somebody passes for those who love them. So that's a lot. That's kind of a fire hose of information, but that is what hospice care is.
And I think if you talk to anyone who has worked with hospice care or had hospice care because of a loved one, maybe at the end of life or things like that, you get a lot of, I think, great testimonials about how beneficial having someone or a whole team of people helping, as you mentioned, the family, the caregivers, the folks maybe that are trying to, maybe the loved one wants to be more at home, and maybe that's something that could be arranged, and that's what hospice can help to do, can it?
Right. We want to, if somebody wants to be at home, we want to keep them at home in the space that they're familiar with the people that they're familiar with, but
they may need additional equipment or assistance or things along that, and that's what hospice can help do as well, right?
Right. So the nuts and bolts of it includes all the durable medical equipment, which is the bed, the oxygen, and then, of course, visiting nursing care and visiting care by folks like me and the social workers. So it is intended to be a gentle and compassionate process, which for many people, actually, once they come off of the medical machine, we always say, like, we're stepping out of the way of nature, and so that person's body all of a sudden becomes the thing that's directing the path, as opposed to the medical machine, which is good for its time and it's helpful for its time, and then at some point it just doesn't work anymore. So that is what we try to do, is keep it as gentle and compassionate as possible.
Right. But the other thing I also want to make sure everyone understands too, and you mentioned it, is working and dealing with the family and helping the family, especially if the patient's at home, right, to know what to expect, how to deal with stuff, and anything that may be coming up, because it is a process, and hospice workers are there to kind of guide the family and the caregivers too. Right.
We've kind of sterilized the death process in the Western world, and so people are less used to being around death and less used to being around dying. Of course, everybody at some point has to experience it themselves, obviously, but a lot of people don't know what to expect. And there's plenty of surveys that talk about, when we talk about the fear of death, it's actually the fear of pain that comes up. When it's the fear of the dying process, not necessarily dying itself. And so we are entirely geared around taking care of that. Of course, part of pain management is the anxiety the existential anxiety surrounding this.
Right. And again, talking specifically about Basin, the hospice services are available to everybody, are they not?
Everybody. And this is where we get to the foundation. Right. So hospice services are of course available to everybody whom a physician has deemed qualified and appropriate for hospice. Hospice is paid for by Medicare, Medicaid, and many private insurances. And we're not going to go deeply into the minutia, but here's where things get complicated, and this is why we have a foundation. One is, Medicare is everybody who's 65 or older that qualifies for it. There are people that are older that, for whatever reason, don't qualify for Medicare.
Right.
But also, people die sooner than 65 or older.
Sure.
So, if they don't have private insurance, and private insurance is an option if your private insurance covers it, oftentimes you can have a significant copay, though. You could be paying up to 50% of services yourself out of your own pocket. And to qualify for Medicaid, you have to be in a certain socioeconomic status. So this leaves a swath of people that, for whatever reason, are not covered by any of those three things. And so that's where the foundation comes in. And it's 15% of hospice patients in our region and our county are not insured.
Wow.
Which is a larger number than you might imagine.
Right.
So,
But the foundation then, I guess, can come in and help to defray some of those costs to the family, is what you're saying, if it's
Yes.
not covered by private insurance, Medicaid, Medicare, all those other things you mentioned.
Right. So the foundation is set up to take patients on who are uninsured or underinsured or indigent in the sense that maybe some of their other basic needs aren't met. Maybe there's a hole in the roof. That's a real life example. Or maybe the utilities are in danger of shutting off and we can't really take care of somebody if they don't have water. Or maybe they just can't afford services, and so we've covered months of patients' services out of the foundation. So it really is making hospice care truly available to all.
Right, and that's kind of the goal.
That's the goal
of the foundation and the company, and that brings up this event that's happening on Saturday, which is a fundraiser for the foundation to again provide the money to help out these families who are looking for hospice care in their final days, weeks, whatever the case may be,
Months.
for their loved
Yeah.
one. So
That's right.
And that brings Nicole Clark into the conversation about the Good Neighbor Fest, which is happening, as I mentioned, on Saturday, right?
It is correct. Yes.
Very
So
exciting. It's the first one.
It is our first fundraiser, so we're pretty excited about it. We are looking forward to it. We've been planning for months, of course, and our foundation has been amazing. Our board members, excuse me, have been an awesome support and willing to jump in and help us at every turn. So
Very good. And so you've got Wines of the San Juan is where you're going to do this, and music and food and just a time to gather and be together, which is another reason to celebrate that we can do these things.
Exactly, yes. Coming out of the year we just came out of, it should be a good time to get together, and it is family friendly, so everybody is welcome to bring their significant others, their children. We will have 3 musical groups, Zia Chicks, Delbert Anderson Trio, and Jose Villarreal. We will
And
have
names that I think most of our audience would recognize, at least
Yes.
one of those names for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And we we tried to focus definitely on bringing in local groups because we want to make sure this is focused on our community and local people. So
Right.
it will be at Wines of the San Juan. It's a beautiful venue. If you've never been there, I would encourage you to come out. They have a little pond. They have lights everywhere. I mean, it's just a beautiful place.
And they have wine.
They have wine.
And they have wine.
Right.
So there you go.
Who doesn't love wine? So
Tickets are $25.
Tickets are $25. They are available. We have some at our office at 200 North Orchard. You can also call our phone number, 505-325-8231, or you can go online and purchase them at basingoodneighbor.org.
Gotcha. Will you have any at the door, or do you think this event will sell out, or what is the situation with tickets?
We will have some at the door, yes.
Okay.
We plan on doing that just for people who are stopping by the winery on the off chance that something's going on, or people who are lingering from the daytime and they want to stay around. And
It starts at 6 o'clock, we should
Starts
mention.
at
6
6.
p.m., 6 to 9.
right, 6 to 9 p.m.
Gotcha.
And this Saturday.
Very good.
Yes.
And in addition to the musical groups that you're going to have some food trucks in addition, right? So if folks want to come out and grab dinner, they could do that.
Absolutely. We're going to have the Mac Wagon out, so that's a pretty well-known food truck in the area. And the Primal Swine, also very well-known. And
Right.
people speak very highly of both of those. So,
Excellent.
yeah,
Well,
we're excited.
very good. Well, we're looking forward to it. Again, it is Neighbor Fest 2021 out at Wines of the San Juan this Saturday, August 7th, 6 to 9 p.m. And again, tickets are $25, and they benefit the Basin Good Neighbor Foundation, which is what we're talking about this morning. And they, of course, help pay for these hospice services that we've been talking about as well. And you had some help from the Connie Gotch Arts Foundation and also the Walmart Community Giving Group.
That is correct. This was definitely made possible by generous grants from those 2 foundations. So that will, of course, meet our expectations that all the proceeds from this concert will go directly back into the foundation.
Great.
So those grants took care of our overhead. So
Nice. So
Yes.
my $25 will go all to the foundation. Is that what
correct.
you're saying?
Yes, that will
Nice.
go directly back into the foundation and go towards those patients that need that care.
Very good. Well, and this is the first event, so I mean, and so it sounds to me like the foundation wanted to do something with the community. And so, how did
Absolutely.
this come about? who had the idea for music, food, and wine, Megan Cullip.
That would be me. That would be me. So,
Okay.
well, so I wanted a neighborhood feel, and so I wanted a venue that encouraged just sort of mingling, encouraged a casual atmosphere as opposed to sort of a closed banquet environment or something. And
Or an auditorium and a stage
right,
and things like
which
that.
are wonderful events, but I wanted something that would encourage kind of milling about and conversation. And then I'm a music lover, as we all know by now, I think. And so
Eclectic mix is
the
what I hear.
eclectic music mix.
That's what I hear.
Right. So that's one of my roles here. But so music lover, and so I really wanted to invite our local musicians who have such a strong following and have done a lot of good in these parts when it comes to live music. And so that was the idea, was just something fun, especially since people hear the word hospice and they don't always think life affirming, but really hospice is one of the most life affirming options that we have. And so I wanted something that would inspire fun and gathering, and something that was very lively, because you hear hospice sometimes and people get kind of scared or worried and it's just kind of icky to them, but really it's a life affirming thing. And so I wanted an event that echoed that principle. So.
Nice. Well, and I think when we talk about hospice, it is can be a somber topic. And when we talk about the end of someone's life and planning and some of these conversations maybe families haven't ever had of how their loved one, wants to be cared for in their final days, months, weeks, whatever it is. And that's really maybe a conversation to have before you need to have it.
It's definitely a conversation to have before you need to have it. And I'll say, I mean, in regards to life affirming, I mean, I always say that like a hidden slogan of hospice is like permission granted. And so we talked about, if you want to eat ice cream and French fries every day until the end, then go for it. And that's what I mean by an atmosphere of like good humor, really, as somber as it can be, and certainly can, and as existential as it can get and all of that, there's still an element of, and that's where autonomy comes in, there's an element of like, what would make you happy? It's been your life, it's your journey, what's going to make you happy at the end? So
right.
That's where the idea came from, and I love concerts, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. And again, the venue is really special. It's a great spot. One's the San Juan.
Yes.
Having it there. And
big thank you to them.
And having these great musicians that are coming in as well, that, again, a variety of music. It's not just one genre of music.
It's an eclectic mix.
It is an eclectic mix. It really is. So look at that.
Yeah.
So there you go. And so we've got a little bit of time remaining this morning, and so I wanted to talk a little bit more about hospice care, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
And some of these things, again, about having these conversations with folks, and, how would you advise people to maybe bring it up if they have an elderly, family member who's not ready for hospice? Maybe they're perfectly healthy and they're active, and they're an active senior, they're golfing, they're swimming, they're walking, whatever they're doing. How do you bring that up to grandma or grandpa or mom or dad?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of different ways. I mean, first of all, young people should be talking about it too, because
Good point.
hazards can befall all of us.
No kidding.
And so really, I always say, if you don't have like an advance directive, you need to get on that. And it doesn't have to just be family members that are your appointed agents. You can appoint anybody that you trust and love and that loves you. But there is a resource that I often point people to. I mean, one is us. So you can come talk to our office. Part of my role is actually community education. So I'm happy to sit down and walk people through that. But there's something called the Conversation Project, and I've done some work with them. But it's a website, and if you go to the Conversation Project, you can find resources on how to have that conversation. And it's so detailed, it's so good. It asks you to think about, when do you want to have this conversation? You want to do it the next time you all gather for a holiday? Do you want to do it this way or that way? And so it helps you think through even those details, as well as what options look like. And there's even a separate one for memory care, as they call it now, so dementia and Alzheimer's. And so really, it could not, I mean, this is one of the most important things that we can do. And I always say that when you consider what the end of life looks like, all of a sudden you're sort of emboldened more to live your life currently to the fullest when you're healthy, because you've already taken care of the elephant in the room and you've already discussed it. And now you can remember, like, our time is the most valuable resource we have. The
Right.
clock is ticking. Let's get busy living. So I would say the Conversation Project, I would say Basin itself as a resource, and we're not going to steer you towards our services. There are other services in town. We don't care about that. What we care is that people are being taken care of.
Right. And that's important to note as well, but at least having these conversations. And I would think too, maybe figuring out that, yes, you do have resources to pay for this. Mom and Dad, you do have insurance that, and understanding that when the time comes, that's not maybe part of the problem. It can be used as a solution.
Right. Yeah. We don't need to let finances get in the way of our end of life planning. Yeah.
Right. But all the things, but if the kids don't know, or the grandkids don't know, it'd be important to figure that out
Right.
early on. So
Right.
So that's important. And again, the Good Neighbor Foundation, in addition to providing this care, was established not too long ago. Correct? It's a relatively new foundation,
Yeah.
isn't it?
2018.
Okay.
And that was established, I think, based on, I think, crisis, really. Our CEO, Vince Moffat, was the one that put the seed money into it. And so it's taken some time for it to blossom, and now we have a board made up of 6 community members who are also eclectic, very diverse group of people, and as far as their occupation and their influence go, and personalities. And so I think it took a while to get some feet under it, but when it was initially started, it was really just a direct response of, I think Vince saw this is a need. We have to turn people away, and that's heartbreaking. Who wants to do that? When somebody comes to you in crisis, nobody wants to turn them away from end-of-life care. So it is new, and that's part of the other motivation behind an event is, $25 a ticket at like a couple hundred people. It's not, as far as foundations go, it's not a huge. You're not breaking in the dough, but what we want to do is to say, like, we're here and we're here to support. So
Sure. Well, and remind the community that you're here.
Right.
As well. And again, to have a fundraiser to, again, put more money in the foundation so that it can help more families, it sounds like.
Right.
And so that's the idea. So again, Nicole Clark, the details of NeighborFest 2021 coming up on Saturday.
Yes. Saturday, this Saturday the 7th, from 6 to 9 out at Wines of the San Juan. We will have local groups, live music, and food trucks, and of course wine.
There you go. Exactly.
Wines of the San Juan will also be selling non-alcoholic drinks for those who don't drink or the kids
Right.
that come. So that's always good to mention as well.
Bring your designated driver and you'll be all set.
That's
So-
right.
Yeah.
It's a little ways out there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Be careful.
But
Right.
Zia Chicks, Delbert Anderson Trio, and Jose Villarreal, all great entertainers and special guests. Any?
Yes.
Can you tell
Well,
us?
I can.
Can
I can
you?
tell. I
Can you
can.
disclose?
That's Megan.
I can
yeah.
disclose.
Oh.
So I wanted a closing. I mean, I'm all about the I'm all about the sentimentalism. But so I wanted a great closer, and so we have Sheldon Pickering and Jennifer Johnson doing a closing number,
Nice.
and it's a really, really great and powerful rendition of I Think It's Gonna Rain Today, which if you don't know that song, check it out. But and it's all about human kindness. So that's the idea,
Nice.
was to close with something special as we exit and consider the mission.
There you go.
And that's a great way to end, because that is Basin's mission as a whole, is kindness.
Yeah.
Kindness is our brand.
Right.
And, without kindness, what are we?
Without kindness, it's a sad world. So
Very true.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great event, and I'm looking forward to it this Saturday.
This
And
Saturday.
the tickets are
This
available,
Saturday.
again, at Basin Health offices there, basically at Orchard and Arrington.
Correct. Yes,
we-
200 North Orchard.
We can go online.
Yeah. BasinGoodNeighbor.org is where you can purchase them online. There will be an icon of the flyer that you have been putting up, Scott, and you can click on that and then designate your donation to the concert.
Okay.
So,
Or we can call.
right. You can call. Our number is 505-325-8231.
Very good.
Or email me at mcullip
There
at
you go.
basin.health.
That's right.
We could do that as well. Or just
Yeah.
email you anyway. Say
You
hello.
could- Hey,
Hey,
yes.
Megan, heard you on radio. Have a nice day.
Hey, we're fans.
Yeah. Or hey, help me talk about death with my loved one.
Well, that
I'm
would
in.
work too.
That's right.
That's how
I'm
they
in.
can reach out to you as well.
That's
so
right.
Lots of different ways to do that. So perfect. Well, thank you both for coming in this morning. Looks like a great event and a great need in the community. So we're glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. Megan Cullip and Nicole Clark from Basin Home Health. NeighborFest 2021 this Saturday. And this is KSJE.
An app to track home health care aides has some unintended effects. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace Tech. I'm Megan McCarty-Carino in from Hollywood.